Hey everybody, my name is Ming. I am a chef, and I have with me today my lovely wife and assistant sous chef, Miss Barbara. That's right. Today we're going to do something a bit unusual, but I hope you will find it very delicious and tasty. And that is, we are going to do stir fry asparagus with tofu. Yes, I know. You want to like tofu, you know it's good for you, you have never tasted it, you don't know what to do with it. And today I am going to teach you a very simple recipe which I know you are really going to like. Okay? So before we get going on that, tofu is a very ancient food and was used by people in Asia. I am Chinese. My family has been in restaurants for over 100 years. Not just me, but my grandparents, my uncles, my cousins, myself. And so we know a lot about food, especially Chinese food. And so tofu is the only plant based protein that has all 11 amino acids. So, what I mean by that is meat has 11 amino acids. And the only vegetarian thing that can duplicate that is tofu, which is made of soybeans. So, first, we are going to saute the tofu so has a little crunch like French fries. And so I have a block of tofu, and it comes in a block like this. You get this at your supermarket, and when you pull it out, it looks kind of like this. It's a thicker block. I'm going to turn on my stove. I am using a butane stove, which is used. I'm going to check the fire, make sure it's good. It's good. And so tofu is very easy to slice. I would recommend getting at least firm. Soft is very much like custard, and it's really hard to handle with your hands. And so because we have to cut this into like French fry strips, it's best to get firm so it has some stiffness to it and makes it easier to deal with. I have a very sharp knife. This is my favorite chef's knife, and it's incredibly sharp, but it's very cheap. So if you are just starting out, buy the cheapest knife you can find, but buy a really good sharpener, okay? Because sharp knives, good knives, are no more nor less effective than the sharpness of the edge. So get the cheapest knife you can, but spend your money buying a good knife sharpener. All right, so I have a skillet here that's from Sears. It's a Kenmore skillet, and I have some canola oil in my skillet. Not a lot. I'm just going to saute it. It is a fry, but it's not a deep fry, and so it's just going to skin over the tofu. So I'm going to cut this little slice of tofu in my hand. When you do it, you might want to put it on a board because if I bleed, we have to cut to commercial. Okay, so I'm trying not to slice my hand, but I want to hold it up so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, now I'm experienced, so I kind of know how to do this. Unless I bleed, which is its own appeal, you know. So, okay, all right, we got this guy. We're going to place it in the hot oil. This oil is 375, 400 degrees. So, I haven't done anything with this tofu. I haven't drained it. I haven't pressed it out. I haven't frozen it. I haven't done anything to it. I am simply I took it out of the tub, slice it, place it in the hot oil. Alrighty, I am now using 2 wooden paddles, and it's going to skin over and turn a very nice golden brown. So using these 2 paddles, I'm going to turn these guys over. You may not be able to see this real well, but trust me, that's what I'm doing. And when you're doing it, you're going to be standing over it. You may also want to wear a long sleeve cotton shirt like I am doing, because there is water in this tofu and it will sizzle and sizzle up, and it can hit your arm and you may get a little burn. You don't want that. Also, be careful of your face, because it can pop up because it's interacting with water, and if it hits you in the face, it'll ruin your good looks. So you don't want that to happen, okay? I mean, it's too late for me, but you just take care. All right, now I think this is pretty browned up. I'm going to ask my lovely assistant to come by, and we are going to fish these guys out and put it in this plate. Barbara, the plastic paper plate with the ones already in it, please. Yes, that's right. I want to mention that in our house, Barbara does not cook. She was proud of that. So that's why we get along so well. I don't expect her to cook. She doesn't want to cook. She thinks it's yucky. She doesn't like to get her hand all gushed up, so she does not like cooking. But she does eat, so all is not lost. So we're going to do the 3 last strips. Now, this oil is so hot that I'm not worried about bacteria or the virus, because, you know, water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit, and this guy is at 375, 400 degrees. So I'm not worried about any virus, okay? It's really hot. It'll kill anything. So, all right, we're turning these guys over. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to turn the fire off. And Barbara, please, we're going to fish out the rest of the tofu strips. And they are joining the rest of the strips on this paper plate. And I know you can see it, and you can see it's got a nice light golden color. And you will also recall that I have not put any salt or pepper or soy sauce or any seasoning whatsoever. I took it out of the tub right from the supermarket, sliced it up, and sauteed these guys in this really hot oil. And so, well, another thing, you might want to wear safety glasses, and it hits you in the eye, poof, you know. Word to the wise. Okay, I am now going to fish out the oil and pour it into this metal pan. But it's really hot. We are not in the kitchen, we are in the library, so we have to be really careful. But we are at the Henrietta Branch, and if you come in here when it's open, it will smell like Chinese food. Okay, so here we are. Well, that is hot oil. Okay, now, oh honey, be careful with it. Okay, yeah. Okay, firing it up again. Oh yeah, we still got fire. I am now going to slice up a pound of asparagus. I bought this asparagus at the market, and what I've done with some of it already is I've sliced the stalks and separate from the heads, because the heads are very delicate and they don't require a lot of cooking, so I don't want them to cook out, so I'm going to cook the stalks first and then the heads, okay? So I'm not going to keep slicing all this, because it's about as exciting as watching grass grow. So I have saved a couple of stalks just so you can see what I'm doing, okay? So I'm going to slice it on the bias at an angle. And I'm turning the stalk as I'm doing this. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm exposing a lot of surface area of the stalk, and that'll make it cook up real fast. And then, of course, the head of it goes into this other little pan here, this little metal plastic bin here. Okay, and I'm turning it, as you can see, and I'm also watching my fire, because I don't want the oil to smoke too much. Okay, there we are. So we sliced up a bunch of asparagus. Okay, this looks pretty good. Now this is scary hot, and you're going to hear the scary in a minute. Watch. Okay. So, taking 2 paddles, we're going to quickly stir these guys around. That's what stir frying is. You have to watch it. I'm using paddles because it's nice and quiet. When I was working restaurant, we used a metal ladle, and you go like this with a big gigantic wok, and half the food would go, oh, it would be on the floor, you know. So this way, it's quieter, and there's less waste, and less to clean up afterwards. So I would recommend 2 wooden paddles, just like tossing a salad when you do stir fry. And then that way, if you have a non-stick skillet or a wok, you won't scrape the non-stick off, okay? So 2 wooden paddles. Okie dokie. Let that guy cook around for a bit. Okay. Yeah, I know, it's can you grab that? I need to pull out there. So, if you don't have a sous chef, get one. Okay, that looks pretty good. I am now going to toss in the heads of the asparagus, okay? Just like so. The oil I'm using is called canola oil. Now, back when we started restaurants in this country, at least in Michigan, back in the 50s, at least my family, you could not get canola oil. It was only peanut oil. It was the only oil available. And you could not get tofu. But since then, there have been no shortage of different kinds of oil. There's all kinds of oil. Peanut oil is still very nice. Canola oil is the oil traditionally used in China, and it's made from a plant or a seed called a rape seed. But peanut oil is also very good. Now, a lot of Chinese restaurants use lard, which is really good, but you know, it's not that great for you. So, but it tastes really good, has a really high smoke point. But canola oil is the traditional oil used in Chinese cooking in China. Okay. The next thing we've got here is we have soy sauce. Now there's all kinds of soy sauce in the world, but save yourself the time, aggravation, and money. Buy the best soy sauce, and that's Kikoman. It's made by the Japanese. It's a medium-bodied soy sauce. It's good for everything. There are other specialty soy sauces that cost a lot more money, but they're not that good. It's like buying beer from a craft beer place, and they haven't quite learned how to do it right. Where Kikoman, they've been doing it for over 100 years. So save yourself the aggravation. Get this. I'm not a shill for them, but you will like this stuff, okay? It's medium body. It's very good. And I'm stir frying to make sure it cooks out, but also I don't want it to burn. So unlike a lot of different kinds of cooking, I cannot walk away from this. You have to be playing with this all the time. The last thing we're going to put in is oyster sauce. This is made by a company called Kum Kee. You can get it at any supermarket. It is the best oyster sauce in the world. Kum Kee is a Hong Kong company. They've been making this stuff for over 100 years, and there's no need to go with anything else. Just get this. It's just a little more money than the other stuff, but it's way better, and you don't need a lot. The Asians use this stuff like you would use ketchup. It is oysters, and it's basically pureed oysters. It's a very, very nice taste, and when you have it in your food, you will not even taste the oysters. You will not know what it is. Okay, so I think we're good to go. I'm going to sprinkle in some of the soy sauce to salt it up. Just a little dab. Stir that guy around. I am now going to pop in a little bit of oyster sauce, you know, just like ketchup, okay? Don't need a lot. Now, why am I doing this? Because the oyster sauce has a slightly sweet taste, and I'm turning the heat off. Turning, no more heat. It's still cooking, but I've turned the fire off. I'm going to stir this guy around some more. Oh, okay. Okay. Alrighty. Now I'm just going to carefully take a piece of this, make sure that it's to my liking, okay? Look out. Now, these are cooking chopsticks. I can talk a lot about chopsticks. I'm not going to, but we can do another program on history and etc. So, quite interesting actually. Perfect. Now, I'm going to take my tofu, which I've already cooked, and they look like little golden brown French fries. No spice on any of it. But I'm putting it in at the very end because these guys can break up real easily. So I don't want to break it up too much. So I'm just going to slide these guys in at the very last. I'm going to gently toss, and then I'm going to plate it. And now, I didn't make rice or noodles or anything, but it's seriously good eating. And here's the other good thing. This has got the protein of meat, but no cholesterol. And if you substituted some other spice for the oyster sauce, why, this would be like 100% vegan. Okay, so
Such as?
What's that?
Such as?
Hoisin sauce. It's made with fermented soybeans. It's very nice. It's also a little sweet. You will still need the soy sauce. And if you're like gluten-free or something like that, no worries. Use soy sauce called tamari, T-A-M-A-R-I. Tamari soy sauce is not fermented. I can talk about how soy sauce is made, but I'm not. That's another program. But tamari is not a fermented soy sauce. Fermented soy sauces like this are made with wheat, so there's a slight bit of gluten. Nothing to write home about, but a lot of people, you know, they get panicky when they think of that. So if you cannot tolerate gluten for whatever reason, use tamari soy sauce. And the other soy sauce that's really good, though they don't even call it soy sauce, is something called liquid aminos. Okay, you can get it at the supermarket next to the soy sauce. It's also very much like tamari, and it does have salt, but it's not listed because the salt is naturally occurring in the beans that they use. So, but that's liquid aminos or tamari unfermented and gluten-free soy sauce. Okay, and if you don't like soy sauce, no worries. Salt and pepper work just as well. And while you don't think of it that way, a lot of Asian cooking use salt and pepper. Okay, and it doesn't darken the food the way soy sauce does. But if you can manage this, this will take it up to a whole nother level. Okay, trust me, this is some serious good stuff. If you've not ever tried this or heard of it, try it. And if you like a lot of meat, like hamburgers and steaks, take a basting brush, baste some of this on your steak just before you plate it. You're just going to have to trust me. That will take your steak up to a whole nother level. Okay, barbecue. Oh my God, you think Texas barbecue is good? Try it with this. You will be highly, highly impressed. So, okay, I'm going to plate this guy now, and let's see. I think I'm going to just talk a little bit about my stove. I'm going to take this off and put it on the. If you can flip that over, honey, so I don't burn through the towel. Okay, so this is a butane stove, and it's very popular among Asians. If you've ever been to a Korean or a Japanese restaurant, you may sometimes see in the middle of a table a burner. And that burner is a butane burner, and it uses a fuel that looks like this. It's a canister, and it's the same fuel that is used in cigarette lighters. It's very clean. There are no particulates of combustion. You can use it in an enclosed space. You will not asphyxiate yourself. But it's the same stuff used in cigarette lighters. And if you're still smoking, shame on you. So anyway, butane. And on low, this will last about 4 hours. So the stove looks like this. The burner cover comes off. I don't want to touch it because it's really hot right now. But the Japanese use it for a kind of a fondue thing called yakitori, which is a kind of a Japanese barbecue kind of thing. And if you've been to a black rock restaurant where they serve everything on a really hot rock and you're basically cooking your own meat, this is the same idea, except rather than a hot rock, you've got a grill at your table, which is this butane stove. You can get this at a camp store. We got this at a Dollar General a few years ago, and it's really, really handy. And if in case of a power outage, or if you go to a tailgate party for a football game, this is really nice. You can still prepare a hot meal for your family even if you have no electricity. So if you're a survivalist even, this is a useful tool just in case of a power outage. Okay, so that's what my stove is. This thing is called a spider. This was with me when we were in restaurants. It's a handmade thing. It's nothing more than a slotted a spatula. So, but it's called a spider. You probably will have a hard time finding this, but you can get one made of metal, all metal with a screen. So that's the same thing. And these are cooking chopsticks, and they're big, so you can cook with food and make stuff. And my thermometer, this is the best thermometer made. And if you don't remember anything, remember the thermometer, because this will up your cooking immensely. Because this is Thermapen. It's a thermometer made in England, and it's an instant read thermometer. And you can make fish, you can make anything with it. You just stick it in, it will instantly give you the temperature. And in these days, when it's really important that you don't burn the fish that you're paying too much money for, this will guarantee that your food comes out just right. Now, here's the other grand thing. If you open this guy up, the temperature comes out, see? And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to hold it up in the air, and I can tell you, in the room I'm in right now, it's 80 degrees. So it's really useful just to check the ambient temperature of your house besides used for food, okay? So you can do other things with it, but I'm not going to talk about those other things. Okay, so anyways, this is made by Thermapen. It's really good. It's about $100, and it's made in England. It's the best thermometer made on the world. So if you can only get one thermometer, this is it. So, okay. I'm going to talk about my knife just briefly. What? No. I know I've talked about my knife. I've talked about the knife being cheap, but I haven't told you why even cheap this is the best knife. I got this knife is $7. I bought it at Gordon Food Service. And why is this knife so good? Well, for one thing, it doesn't have a bolster. A bolster is a thick bit of metal right here, so the blade doesn't bend. The problem then is you cannot sharpen it all the way up to the bolster. So this does not have a bolster. It's just stamped metal, and it's thin from the point all the way to the end. So when I sharpen this knife, it's from one end all the way to the other. It doesn't just straight through. The other thing is, you see the distance from the blade to the edge? So when I'm chopping and I'm holding the knife, my fingers don't hit my cutting board, you see? Because some knives the blade is so short that you can't cut without banging your knuckles on your cutting board. So you don't want that. You want where the blade is wide enough so you can rock the knife you can choke up on it and rock and mince without banging your knuckles. Okay, so anyway, and it's what, 6-7 inches. It's a chef's knife. It's the best. There are many better knives made of better material, but they're only as good as the sharpness of their edge. So don't waste your money. Buy the cheapest knife. Get a good sharpener. I've already talked about that. So, okay. What? Okay, I'm going to plate it now. I'm going to plate it because there are two ladies with us behind the camera. And one is Miss Amy, the branch manager of the Henrietta branch. And the other one is Miss Katie.
Christy.
What did I say?
Christy is.
I meant to say Christy. Okay, I meant okay. And she's the other person here. She's okay. So I'm gonna plate these guys. All right. Okay, and this is how it's gonna look. All right. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna not make a little mess maybe, but I guarantee you, ladies, you're gonna like this. I would like it. Oops. Can you get that, honey? I would like it, and I'm real fussy, so I'm gonna just dish it all out, okay? Because, all right. What? Okay. Okay. So Barbara is supervising here, making sure it's even. You know?
Which
Okay.
it's not.
Yeah, but I'm just doing the best I can here. All right. And this, we're on a towel, which is really clean, by the way, so I don't want you getting all nervous about that. Okay. Okay. And so, thank you very much for watching this and being a patron of the Jackson District Library, the Henrietta Branch in particular, and the Grass Lake Branch. And my name is Ming, my lovely wife and assistant sous chef, Barbara. Yay!